Alrighty, I'm recording the part two to the brawl deck upgrade. I've got what I need. I've got two piles. On the right is what is on the right? Cards? No, on the right is the actual brawl deck of the Faerie schemes, and on the left is the new cards I'm adding. So let's go through these. I'm EmceeRad, EmceeRad. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, Instagram, wherever. I've also got a Linktree account to every site I have. So if you find me on one, you found me on all of them. Let's get right into this. So if you want to watch the video for the brawl deck, you can click Chia, and there will be something here eventually. Let's go ahead and see that. So if you want to, I'll pause. Just kidding, that's not how that works. Come back and check it out, and we'll see what's going on. If you're watching this as part two, then continue on, my friends. So I added two blue islands, a swamp, and two plains, excuse me, a salt marsh, which I just kind of thought was a fun addition to that. It adds, comes into play tapped. I can add blue or black. I also got Demir Aqueduct, which enters the battlefield tapped, and I can add blue and black. So that's kind of fantastic. I needed 7 more lands to make it a commander deck, and now I have the 33 that I like to run. Whatever you like to run is on you, homies, but that's what I like to run. I got a Spell Pierce, which counters a target spell for 1 island. I put in Soul Herder, which gives me +1/+1 counter on this card, and then it exile, or whenever something's exiled, and then it just exiles and brings things back. I've got a Traxos. Been wondering when I was going to use this fella. He's a legendary artifact creature, and whenever I cast a historic spell, I can untap him. So, you know, artifacts, legendaries, or sagas. So that's kind of cool. I decided he'd go well in here. Card that wasn't in there, I put Trapped in the Tower in, which is an enchantment from Throne of Eldraine. I also put Charmed Sleep, which isn't in there. I've put my Mox Tanalite from Modern Horizons. I also put Karn, the Great Creator, from War of the Spark. I have Debtor's Knell, which is kind of expensive. It's 8. But at the beginning of my upkeep, I can put target creature card from my graveyard onto the battlefield under my control. So that's kind of awesome. Excuse me. I can actually put target creature, not my target creature. I can put any target creature, so that's cool. I used Kaya's Ghost form, so my commander most likely won't die. I got Feast on the Fallen, which has, at the beginning of each upkeep, if an opponent lost life, I get to put a +1/+1 counter on a target creature I control. Since there's a lot of tokens in this, that's going to be useful, I figured. Blood for Bones. As an additional cost to cast a spell, I can sack a creature. So we'll see. Yeah, I need to sack a creature. And then I can return a creature card from our graveyard to the battlefield, then return another creature from your graveyard to your hand. So I can sack one, return that one, and then return another. So it's kind of a win-win. I got Rescue from the Underworld, another card that returns things from my battlefield. I got Wake the Reflections, which is a populate to give me more tokens. Authority of Consuls. Creatures your opponent's control enter the battlefield tapped. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, I gain a life. So that's kind of cool, and an enchantment will help this. I have Settle the Wreckage, which exile all attacking creature target player controls. That player may search his or her library for the basic land, or for that many basic land cards. Put those cards on a battlefield tapped, then shuffle his or her library. So exile, but give you lands. So maybe next time you'd be better off. Sphere of Safety, which I've been running in a few of my decks. It says creatures can't attack me or a planeswalker I control unless the controller pays X for each of those creatures, where X is the number of enchantments I control. So that's awesome because I control a lot of enchantments. I have Board the Weatherlight. Look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a historic card from them, from among them, and put into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in any random order. And again, that's artifacts, legendaries, sagas, are all historic. So I'm going to be using artifacts mostly there. Divine Favor, it's an enchantment aura. I gain 3 life, and I get to give a creature +1/+3. Siegecraft gives a creature +2/+4. I got a Spirit Cleric, which exiles all cards from target player's graveyard if I sacrifice it. I got a Faerie that gives me, and she gets +1/-1 until end of turn. I got Faerie Duelist, which is a Faerie Rogue. It's got Flash, Flying, and when Faerie Duelist enters the battlefield, target creature an opponent controls gets -2, -0 until end of turn. I put Mirror Image. You may have a Mirror Image enter the battlefield as a copy of any creature I control. I've got Sleep on there, which taps all target creatures players control. Tap all target creature. Tap all creatures target player controls. I did it. Those creatures don't untap during the player's next untap step. I have Fumble, which is just what I did with my words just now. It's an instant. Return target creature to its owner's hand. Gain control of all auras and equipment that were attached to it, then attach them to another creature. I'm excited about that. Faerie Miscreant. When Faerie Miscreant enters the battlefield, if you control another creature named Faerie Miscreant, draw a card. I won't, but it's a nice fairy card, so that's kind of cool. It's commander, so there aren't doubles. Night Veil Sprite. Flying, whenever Night Veil Sprite attacks, surveil 1. I've got Mind Control. Enchant creature. You control... Enchant creature. You control enchanted creature, so I get to take that over. Diligent Excavator. Whenever you cast a historic spell, target player puts the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard. And that's going to help me in this deck. Rewind. Counter target spell. Untap up to 4 lands. I got a Gilded Lotus where I pay 5. And then anytime I can add 3 mana of one color. I've got a Manolith where I can tap and add mana of any color for 3. I've got Throne of the God Pharaoh. At the beginning of your end step, each opponent loses life equal to the number of tapped creatures I control. And I've got Swiftfoot Boots. Equipped creature has Hexproof and Haste, and then it's got Equip 1. So that's pretty cool. I'm super excited. Those are going to be in this deck. I'm going to run this. I don't know if I'm going to film it right away, me playing, but I'm going to run this deck. So next time you see see anything about this deck is when I'll be playing it. So take a look. It's in a book. It's Reading Rainbow. Like, subscribe, comment, ring that bell. I'd love to see you comment or on a future or mention anything in a future video. But that's it for today. Take care of each other. Super excited about this deck. Thank you, Brawl, for letting me upgrade to the Commander. Have a good one, everyone.